If you look over here, okay, at these rules, this one is actually switching the points, right? So remember, the original was x, y, and it switched x and y. But also look at the fact that it made negative y, so it multiplied the y by -1. But notice that there's nothing on the x, so the x is going to stay the same. The x is going to stay the same. All right, let's look at the next rule. We're actually working on this one. So let's look at the next rule. Let's see what it means. So once again, we're going to switch. Okay, you're going to switch the x and y. So I wrote it up there. I'm going to write it down here too. We're going to switch the x and y. Okay, so not only are we going to switch the x and y, the y is actually going to stay the same in this situation. Y stays the same. But look at what happens to the x. To the x, we're going to multiply by -1. Multiply by -1. All right, now let's look at the last one. If you notice, the last one is the same as 270 and -90 are the same thing. So in class, we talked about this. And so this is our little cheat sheet. Okay, this is a cheat sheet. Okay, so if a point starts in the first quadrant, that's only if it's in the first quadrant. But we're going to use these quadrants to help us remember the rules. So if a point starts in the first quadrant and I rotate it 90 degrees counterclockwise, so that's going in this order, counterclockwise, then that puts me in the second quadrant, right? So this is the first quadrant, this is the second quadrant, this is the third quadrant, this is the fourth quadrant. It puts me in the second quadrant. And in the second quadrant, what do I know about my x coordinates? They're negative. What do I know about my y coordinates? They're positive. But when you do a rotation, your points switches. So this is going to be a negative y and a positive x because my points switched. And in the second quadrant, my new x coordinates are going to be negative and my new y coordinates are going to be positive. All right, let's do another rotation. Let's do a 180-degree rotation. So 180 degrees, so this is 90, another 90 is going to be 180. Still going in counterclockwise. So in this quadrant, let's look at the coordinates. This is the third quadrant. In the third quadrant, my x coordinates are negative, and so are my y coordinates. They're also negative. My points switch again because I am rotating. So that means x comes back here and y comes back here. And voila, that just happens to be the same rule for 180. Just like 90 degrees is the same rule for -yx. So you can use this as a cheat sheet to come up with the rules. It's very useful to remember the rules. Okay? All right. Now, let's do another rotation. So that was 90 degrees. Another 90 made 180, and another 90 is going to make 270 degrees. And we're still going counterclockwise. Okay? So in this fourth quadrant, what do we know about my x coordinates? They're positive. And what do we know about my y coordinates? They are negative. But again, we're doing a rotation, so that means the points have switched again. So this is y -x. Okay? And so we have now figured out the 4 rules for rotation that will help us remember what to do when we, so like I said, this is a cheat sheet. This is a cheat sheet. If I start in the first quadrant, this is what will happen to the points. But these rules are what we need to follow anyway when we're applying them to any point, no matter what the quadrant is. All right. Lastly, what I want to bring up is clockwise. So if counterclockwise is this direction, clockwise is going to be this direction. Clockwise is going to go in the order of the clock, right? Now, so 90 degrees would be here. And that means, because I'm going in the order of the clock, that means it's going to be negative 90 degrees. Okay, that's how I know it counts is clockwise. So positive 90 means counterclockwise. Negative 90 means clockwise. So if I said I want to go negative 180 degrees, that means I want to go this way, this direction. Notice that negative 180 and 180 is the same. That's something that I was mentioning to you earlier. With 180, it doesn't matter if we go counterclockwise or clockwise, we're going to end up in the same place, which is right here. All right, so then again, I'm still going clockwise. If I go around, and then I end up here, and that's going to be another 90 degrees. So that makes this negative 270 degrees, right? And so if I hear negative 270 degrees, that means I went 270 degrees in the clockwise direction. Okay, so we use the negative to determine that it's clockwise. If there is no negative, that means it was counterclockwise. All right, that's just a review of the lesson we had.